Hey, listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Kind Bar. Kind is deeply committed to crafting food with real, recognizable ingredients, a disruptive notion that sparked the creation of a new, healthy snacking category. Kind is unapologetic in their efforts to challenge the status quo, to shift the food industry, and empower the community and our listeners to make better, more informed choices about their health. Kindness can be a transformative force for good, and that is why we are teaming up with Kind to bring our listeners 10% off or 15% off for military, teachers, students, first responders, doctors, and nurses. Go to podgo.co/kind. That's podgo.co/kind. Kind Bar, creating a kinder and healthier world. One act, one snack at a time.
Across the line, the Gulf Stream, I've been in Tampa Bay, around the horn, and home again, 'cause that is the sailor's way.
Okay, welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I am your host, Andy. I'm here with Fish.
Yeah, hello.
And as always, co-host Hanna.
Hello.
What's up, Hanna?
Not much.
So Hanna, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about kind of recent history for Plymouth, which is exciting.
Yeah, I would say this was within the last 10 years?
Yeah.
12 years?
Yeah. You're right. 12 years. A little bit more.
It was about, but it happened right before I moved to Plymouth.
Well, it was announced and it was publicized to the idea that we knew it when I was a senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like everyone was like, what's happening? I should just tell people, Plymouth Rock Studios.
Plymouth Rock Studios.
That's what we're talking about.
Locally legendary.
Floppy.
Do you think everyone knows, like, if we took a poll, like, up and down the street, you think people would know about it, be like, what's that?
Yeah.
You think everyone knows about it?
Yeah. Have some idea of it. Yeah. And I think a lot of people would go, well, you talking about Hollywood East? Like, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably
I love your local Plymouth accent.
With love. All with love. So before I get into it, there's a couple articles that helped me out a lot. It was NewEnglandFilm.com was awesome, and an article from the Patriot Ledger. Obviously, Wikipedia filled in all of the common knowledge that anyone could go find on their first Google search of anything like this. So, Thank you guys. And it all starts with David Kirkpatrick. You guys know anything about him?
I don't.
No.
No? Okay. Well, he's from Ohio. He's not from here. He's from Ohio. And he had a vision, and his vision was creating Hollywood on the East Coast.
Okay. So,
we'll get into that, but before, see, this is why I spent so long correcting it.
Yeah, but
what did I
do? You had it at your forehead. Hannah, your mouth is down here.
See, now I have the urge to correct this thing.
It's fine.
Okay, fine. Okay. Do I have to be on this side of it?
No, it just has to be between you and the microphone.
Okay, alright guys. Fine. So anyway, at the age of 17, he sold his first screenplay to Paramount Pictures.
Okay.
So, right off the bat,
What was it?
I actually couldn't find out. Are you going to find out?
I'll try.
Okay.
So. Did you look him up on IMDb?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was a screenplay. He's not like the youngest person. This might have been one that was like sold and who knows what was.
A lot of times those things never even.
Yeah, exactly.
Movies, yeah.
So I don't think it was a famous movie because I couldn't correlate between all of the things what would have been the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he had been in all sorts of production, movie life since he got out of college, and he worked for a lot of really, really big production companies. He worked at Paramount for a long time off and on. He worked at Disney, among several others.
So he was in the know. He wasn't just a
yeah,
schmuck.
he had years of experience, very much. And he was like behind a lot of really big films. So just to name a few, he did Beverly Hills Cop, one of the Star Trek movies, Top Gun, Ghost, The Hunt for Red October, Witness, Terms of Endearment, and The Little Mermaid.
So those are all things he worked on in some capacity.
Yes, yeah. And then, I mean, as his career grew, his level of title grew too. So by the time he got to, like, Disney, he's pretty up there. And then he was one of, like, the top tiers of Paramount before he left to kind of start his own thing. Yeah. Figure out, like, his own venture. So he didn't start off on a great foot, like, coming out of the movie business. Okay. And it doesn't say that any of it directly, it was because of him affecting it, but there was a pretty large lawsuit about the movie coming to America. So Paramount apparently ripped off the script from the writer.
Oh, I do remember hearing some talk about that. Yeah.
And that was, like, in his heyday. It doesn't say what role he played in what, but he was a part of it, and he was on the making of that movie. And coming out of a couple other things, for some reason, Alec Baldwin, he worked with him on one of his movies, is quoted in the Huffington Post as saying he was a beady-eyed, untalented tool.
Wow.
So, like, David Kirkpatrick, not coming off hot from Hollywood.
Yeah.
I guess. It would seem. So.
Or at least, from the Baldwin.
Exactly. So, in 2006 is when Kirkpatrick announces his plans for the $500 million proposal movie film studio. Movie film studio?
Yeah.
Not too much?
Film studio? Movie studio?
Yeah.
I would pick one of those two words.
Yeah. I'm sorry, have you been watching Borat?
Movie film studio is very nice. I can't do accent.
King of the Castle. Okay, so he starts a group with some other co-founders that are also semi-larger names in the businesses around the U.S. for as far as just like movie production management, all that stuff. So, and then some people who just have a good eye for business. So it's called Good News Holding.
Okay.
And they are a faith-based entertainment.
Okay. So like, are they like a Christian movie company? Yeah. Oh, okay.
And they produce, their idea was that they're going to produce spirit attainment. Not entertainment, spirit attainment.
Oh, okay.
Got it. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, which was something I didn't know about the conceptual idea of Plymouth Rock Studios.
So Plymouth Rock Studios was supposed to be Christian-based movies?
Not necessarily. It doesn't say that, but this is where it started from.
Oh,
so we're
okay.
on the journey.
That I had never heard.
So we're on the journey. That's the beginning step towards Plymouth Rock Studios. However, it was just started as the group was called Good News Holding first. So that's 2006. The concept included 14 sound stages, office buildings, post-production facilities, a hotel, restaurants, theater, visitor center, retail shopping space. The 9. Like, it was going to be a big area. As big as some of the studios out in Hollywood. So, the concept from 2006 to 2008, when it became really, like, polarized with the town, didn't change a whole lot. So...
Well, something that, like, led to that was right around that time Massachusetts had changed the tax law to bring movies out here.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, isn't that what kind of, like, made them go, oh, that's why we're going to choose Plymouth?
Yeah, that and Massachusetts wasn't the only state he looked at. He looked, like, through the Midwest.
Yeah.
Other, like, literally, I think there was a list of, like, 10 random states. So it wasn't just because of that.
Yeah.
Other states were doing similar things. We weren't that special.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
We're pretty special.
Yeah. We are very special. Don't get me wrong. If there's anyone that believes that, it's me. So, so it would create about 3,160 jobs. So that's a pretty good deal for the town that it goes into, and the state offered $100 million in tax benefits for the concept. Yes. So it was.
So how could this possibly go wrong, Hannah?
How could it go wrong? It just kept going through people who didn't actually do or have what they said they had and didn't do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
Like, yep, all right. That's the episode. No, right. So next comes in Mark Paragoidis, who was initially helping with the planning and the Good News Holding wasn't going to be the name of the studio. That was just the name of their like entrepreneurial group, or
Right.
whatever.
The LLC. that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
Yeah.
They were proposing the name be Bay State Studios.
Okay.
Because I don't think they had initially started on what town it would go into.
Mhm.
So the partnership ended with Mark filing a lawsuit against the group, and it ended with an undisclosed financial settlement in Mark's favor.
Okay.
So something happened. It doesn't say, like, it's not really said what exactly happened, but there was just poor promises made on money kind of thing.
So this was even before they picked Plymouth.
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then we're very close on Plymouth being picked at this point. So the plans pushed on after the settlement. That was still going forward. Kirkpatrick and the rest of the Good News Holding had another hiccup after Kirkpatrick found out another investor who was called George Bobbitt was actually, he got like a letter in the mail, or a note of disclosure that he was a convicted embezzler and had served time for it. So this person, George Bobbitt, had actually come to them as a possible investor, promising $200 million.
And this investor was convicted of embezzlement?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So they were about to do business with, or that was someone they were about to do business with, and that fell through.
Well, yeah, understandably.
But at this point, now they're trying to attain things in a timely manner for permit purposes, getting the tax stuff that state said they would get them. So they're trying to close down things pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So that ended it. After that issue with George Bobbitt, they, Good News Holding and Kirkpatrick had like a falling out, so him and the rest of the people in that group. And they ended up parting ways with him.
So there was no good news for Good News Holding?
Guess not.
Or it was all good news if they weren't involved with the rest of it.
Yeah, I guess it seems that way.
Yeah.
Depends on how you flip that coin. So fast forward now to 2008.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been 2 years since the brainchild of this was like born, and they're trying to work through their kinks, and now we're at 2008, and the project became known as Plymouth Rock Studios. Okay. And this is kind of when we all
started to find out about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we started to find out about it because that's when Plymouth came up as a location.
Mm-hmm.
There was a vote in the town to see if it was actually in favor from the residents, and it was. It was actually mostly supported by everyone. So
it'd be a huge boom for the town.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I was in high school, so I couldn't like say much.
Yeah.
But I was like, where they were planning on putting it first was like pretty heavily forested.
Yep.
And I was not about that life, so I hated the idea of it. I was like ready to chain myself to that Hollywood East sign or something. So
it was a very big sign.
Yeah, it was big enough, and I didn't need to anyways. So that's, like I said, one of the areas was actually off Bourne Road.
Yeah, it was a golf course, right?
That's the second location.
Oh, that's the second location.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we'll get to that. So Kirkpatrick was joined by Joseph DiLorenzo, who's a former Boston Celtics executive.
Okay.
And he became chief operations manager. I've heard nothing but like good things about him.
Okay.
And then another person involved, like bigger name up in the project, was William Wynn, and he was a property developer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they went. Oh, yeah, town report. After they got the sign off from the town is when they put up that Hollywood East sign that we were just talking about. And do you guys know why it got taken down?
No.
A lot of people.
Oh wait, I think we talked about this a while ago. But go on.
But if you didn't know, do you think you would know? Like,
no,
could you guess why?
No.
So a lot of people think it's because they didn't get the permission to have it up from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But actually, they formally got permission from Hollywood to take that, and got permission if they built the studios to put up a Hollywood East sign, like the size of the Hollywood sign.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that going to go?
Wherever they built the thing. Maybe not the size of the Hollywood thing, but a structure of a good capacity to let you know where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just like a sample size of it once they got like the buy-in from everyone. and it got removed because they put it on a stinking Veterans Memorial.
Oh yeah, they did that. Yeah. Explains why, like, when we do stuff on that green, they're like, you cannot cover up the memorial.
Yeah.
Why would I cover up the memorial?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they don't want to cover up the memorial, because somebody else did. Yeah.
Yep. So everyone assumed it was because they like didn't get the rights to have that that look.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that. I mean, we didn't talk about that.
No, no, it's because they put it on a memorial. So anyway, now that they were looking at locations, that one on Bourne Road fell through because there wasn't a clear line of town boundaries, and it was cutting it really close. So to push the project forward, because now they're getting even more into a time crunch,
right?
They were scared they were gonna lose the option of the Waverly Oaks Golf Club.
Yeah.
Which is down on Long Pond Road, so still pretty close. And it was just like too hairy to get into the development of that area when the golf club is already like pretty wide and open for the most part.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that made a lot of sense.
Right.
You know, you're not really. I'm sure you're cutting down some trees, but it's pretty much a big empty space.
Exactly. So that's where they decide it's going to go. It was a $650 million proposal at this point, so up from the $500 million that they initially thought for a 240-acre plot of land to fit all that same stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
Logistically, it probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
And the plan to break ground was in 2009, and what I thought was interesting, the plan to finish was in 2010.
I'm sorry. Was that allowed?
Wow. Okay, they're going to build that kind of structure in a year?
I guess so. Very ambitious.
That's crazy.
They're on time crunches, people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to finish this in a second, but a year to build anything?
Yeah, when I was like in the 6th grade, my mom, the boyfriend, he built the house. I swear to gosh, the thing took like a year and a half.
Yeah.
For a house.
Yeah, and that's a house. Like, even a warehouse of any decent size, I mean, they're putting one up around the corner from my house. It's been going up for about a year and a half, and it's mostly done now.
The building that I used to work in, and it took them 6 months just to kind of make sure all the permits were in place.
Yeah.
They kept, like, we're going to break ground here, and then they just kept, like, moving back and moving back.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Right? I thought that was a little funny. So, in 2009, Massachusetts denied the state funding for $50 million that they were going to produce for the project.
Okay.
Which would have given them, like, the road and sewer. That's what they were going to put the money to. Because the group missed the deadline to purchase Waverly Oaks. And the purchase amount would have been for $16.5 million.
So they missed the deadline to buy the golf club.
Yes, because they couldn't.
So then the state's like, we're pulling our funds.
They couldn't secure the funding without actually having the place to do it, which they didn't.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah. That's very reasonable, yeah. So, and this happened. They couldn't secure the funding for the $16.5 million because a couple months before then, Kirkpatrick announced that he had a new investor, and his name was Michael Burgess. And Burgess promised $500 million to invest in the studio. And Plymouth Rock Studios gave him a $3.5 million holding, collateral for him, which I think is weird, because if someone's telling you they're going to give you money, why are you giving them money?
Isn't that how the Nigerian prince scam works?
It sounds very Nigerian princey.
Like
I have $100 million that I need $50,000 from you to process fees, blah,
to
blah,
unlock,
blah.
to unseal the account and transfer you the money, and it's like, no, guys, that's no.
That does sound like that exact same thing.
I literally just for a second I was like, what's the Nigerian prince? It's like the Craigslist thing, right?
What?
Wait, you've never heard of the Nigerian prince scam?
I have, but only via Craigslist.
Oh.
Okay, sure. I'm
sure. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same concept.
Like, you've been. Yeah, it's like your 17th cousin once removed was a millionaire in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And in order to get your inheritance, we need maybe $20,000 to unlock the account and cover all the transfer fees.
Fun.
please give me $20,000. And then we never hear from them
Please
again.
wire me your bank account.
That actually, you know what I just realized? I know what the Nigerian prince scam is. What I was thinking of was that I'm a doctor in Africa and I'm
Oh,
renting a house.
that's
And
a
I need this information from you
that's
in
a
order for you to rent my house, and it's a random house that someone actually lives in.
yeah, that's a different scam.
Yeah, that's what I
mean,
yeah.
same flavor.
Yeah.
Like kind of different.
Different flavor, but you know.
Yeah.
Different way of getting at the same
All
thing.
Scams are shady.
Yeah. Be they random emails or multi-million-dollar film
Movie
studio boondoggles.
Movie film studios.
Movie
Yes.
film studios,
Yeah.
just to be extra sure of what you're saying.
The movie film talking picture studios.
Yes. Now I'm 100% sure of what you're talking about. So, Burgess failed to provide proof of his funds, and they wanted to cut the deal.
Yeah.
And Burgess literally pieced out.
Wait, after they gave him the $3.5 million?
Ding, 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 you got it.
So
he's
wait, they
I super promised I have $500 million, but I need $3.5 million.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's $3.5 million. Wait a second. Do you double dog super promise that you have $500 million? He's like, I got a call. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
They paid him the $3.5 million before they checked to see if he had the 500.
Yeah, I think so.
Huh?
Or maybe he gave them some documentation, but it wasn't a surefire thing. I don't know how.
It is.
Yeah.
I realize in an audio medium you can't see me holding up my finger and just being jaw-droppingly confused because
Yeah, why?
But, I mean,
like
there seems to be, like, weird things, like, it just reminds me of, like, the Fire Festival. It's like, it's just weird things, and they just be like, no, I super promise I have money, and this is not going to
I love
happen.
the Fire Festival. That
And
was
people
so
are just
funny.
like, okay, well, he super promises that it's going to happen.
Yeah. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously we know Burgess kept the $3.5 million.
wouldn't you? Especially if you didn't have $500 million.
Yeah. But now you have $3.5 million.
Even now you can prove that you have $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Because I totally stole it from these other guys.
And so yeah,
Allegedly stole it.
no, he definitely got in trouble for that. He was indicted for and found guilty of 42 counts of wire fraud. And he,
Sorry, 42?
yeah, he had them. What if he had them transferred over like multiple times? Like
What?
He's like send like.
It's like if it's
Yeah.
under 10 grand, then the banks and the IRS won't notice, kind of thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, that'll go over well.
So he is serving 15 years currently. He's wrapping it up soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was in. I think he was convicted of that in 2010. So
He's got 5 years left.
yeah, just about. He's on his way, if
Fine.
not already.
Time flies.
You never know with like good behavior and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not good at doing. I'm sorry, I'm not great at jail stuff.
Doing prison math.
Prison math.
I'm sorry. Everything I know about prison comes from having watched like half of Orange is the New Black, so I'm not
Yeah.
super great here.
Yeah, gotcha. No, yeah, he could
I
get.
figure white collar crimes and stuff.
I don't
get out
know.
for
It-
super early.
It
too.
says 15 years. It doesn't say when he was actually
Yeah.
up for probation or parole or anything like that. So he could potentially be out soon.
Yeah.
If 15 years cut down to 10 is not unlike a white collar crime of that kind. So on June 1st, 2010, this is kind of obviously they lost the ability to buy Waverly Oaks
Mhm.
from that really bad deal.
Okay.
Things probably don't feel great going to work
Yeah.
for some people. And on June
Because
1st,
they had offices.
yeah.
Like, there were people who were working for Plymouth Rock.
So let's think of where I know Plymouth Rock Studios to be at in 2009.
Okay.
I was going to Quincy College.
Yeah.
In Cordage Park. They had the offices above.
Yeah.
I knew like several people who interned there. And then they would always come. I used to work at Clyde's. North
Yeah.
Plymouth shout out. And they used to, like, people from the office would come into Clyde's all the time. All the time. And I was always like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys working on? I'll tell you what they were working on, because they did kind of figure it out. But there weren't as many people working there as we probably imagined there to have
Yeah.
been.
You probably met all of them.
Yeah, exactly. In my mind, I'm like, there's so many people there. But I think they had not a super large, like, facility of, like, cubicles. I think it was, like, very project-oriented teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who were renting out a cool space and got, like, high schoolers to intern for them.
Yeah, like you do, because they're free.
Yeah,
I
why
just
not?
remember in the early Facebook days that they seemed to be the first ones like posting videos of, like on, I think it's Facebook. I remember seeing videos of like their staff working on things, but it's always like very big. Like I never knew what they were doing, and it was very big, and there were short videos, and like hanging out their car going somewhere or something.
Yeah. They did what they were doing. That's all I gotta say. So, in 2010, June 1st, the artistic department and the development department split ways, which means Kirkpatrick takes the artistic department and the developmental side of things goes with the operations manager. I already forget his name.
Is that the guy from the Celtics?
Yes, and the guy who was doing their property development.
Those guys.
They were doing it. So what they did was actually.
I'm sorry, Joe DiLorenzo.
Thank you. I knew it was a D name. So Joe DiLorenzo, his team, actually go set up their headquarters on Waverly Oaks or in a building there, not like.
Not on the
not on the court.
On the 14th fairway.
Yeah, it's where you can find them, and they just keep pushing to actually try and make that happen. In some.
So even though the kind of original guy behind it was no longer, they were continuing to try and move forward with it.
Yeah, because he also was trying to.
So they had two different crews. Trying to open the same studio.
Yeah. So they just continued fighting their fight, and Kirkpatrick started Rock Entertainment LLC. So the other one became Plymouth Rock Studios Holding.
Okay.
And then, William Wynn and Joseph DiLorenzo. I actually wrote it in my notes. Just sometimes stop reading them. And the other one was Rock Entertainment. So I looked at both of those websites. I can tell you one doesn't exist and one still doesn't. It hasn't been updated since 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one still exists?
The Plymouth Rock Studios Holdings, yeah. In 2012, Kirkpatrick lost a $2.3 million civil lawsuit from another person he was trying to invest with.
Mm-hmm.
And the jury ruled that he, quote, made intentional misrepresentations, intentionally concealed material information, violated state security laws, and breached their fiduciary duties. And that is literally where we see that whole thing fizzle out.
And so, everything stopped.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to, talk to the people who held out in the breach, when they separated.
The Plymouth Rock's holding people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they'd be interesting to...
And be like, what? I have spoken to some people, so I reached out, and I just asked, who worked for them.
Yeah.
Or who interned, because I knew more people that interned. And so I talked to one person, and everyone kind of just blankly said, just don't tell them it was me.
Okay.
So, respectfully, one person I know that worked there actually gave me some pretty good insight, anonymously, obviously, that everyone else that worked there went in and put, their heart into what they were doing and sincerely, believed in the project. And nothing but good things about the people who took the development side of things.
Yeah. DiLorenzo.
Yeah. Yep. That they were truly had the best interest of trying to get that off the ground, and that Kirkpatrick was the one that was severely inept with handling money and trying to shortcut and just do everything the way you weren't supposed to do.
No, we can build this in a year.
And I mean, proof is in the pudding. There were several court cases just from what I told you about within the 2006 span.
Right. That's a short time for all those court cases.
Yeah. For things to happen, things to fall out, whatever. So, and then I know, for the other people that were there, I have some friends from high school that were interning there, and like that's what they graduated like from tech school. So, you know, there was a big art piece to it, and because a lot of it was promotional.
Yeah.
So they had obviously a large promotional team. So in that there was graphic design, there were like just everything you could imagine that goes into that. Like they had a decent team,
Right.
and a lot of people were banking on it like to be their career.
Yeah.
So to have it all kind of like dismantle on them was pretty disheartening.
Yeah.
As far as obviously like this guy is just YOLOing his life away trying to figure this out, but like there are people who actually just showed up every day hoping for
To try to make it a movie business.
yeah, and then likewise for like I'm sure everyone that was looking at the developmental side, like people who were going to be contracted, or them whoever was talking with them about like who's going to be getting all the contracts for building, like construction, who's going to be getting, you know, like all that stuff. Like a lot of people are probably riding on things like that. So that's the part of it that makes me feel really bad, because the rest sounds not real in like a movie.
Yeah, and it's funny like how at the time it was portrayed as like this is happening, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
I was living in Middleborough at the time, and my landlord he's like, oh, between you know this movie studio and the casino coming, which that's probably a whole other episode.
Yeah, that's moved into its own branch of issues.
But he's like, I'm going to have no problem renting out this building. It was a whole, apartment building. And, he would have had no problem at all, because it was far enough away where it's much cheaper than Plymouth, but close enough where you can get there in 20 minutes.
Right. So can I tell you who called this whole thing? My math teacher in high school. She's
Really?
She goes, it's not happening. And maybe she was literally just looking at proposals and numbers and being like a smart person, and she was like,
and having a basic understanding of how math works, and I don't know, maybe having had like, no guys, you can't build a functioning studio in a year.
Yeah.
Because one, no. And two, it's not a year. You're going to be losing however many months in the winter as it gets. You're just going to be shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because good luck trying to get construction done when there's, a foot of snow on the ground.
Some of the more memorable conversations we had was actually in that math class about this. Because like I said, there were kids who were literally coming out like, I'm going to be able to become like an apprentice as an electrician and get in there.
Yeah, and you'd be able to do just the amount of jobs that it would have brought, and new types of jobs that we don't have.
So obviously everyone was excited, as you know, I was not. But I remember one kid saying, I know who it is, I'm just not going to say who it was. He goes, this is so funny to me. He's like, downtown is going to be like downtown LA. We're going to see like friggin' Mark Wahlberg walking around. Like, he's like, there's going to be movie stars. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be drinking coffee on the corner. Like,
I love Hannah's Plymouth accent.
It was amazing. And I do wish Leonardo DiCaprio was here today drinking coffee on the corner.
He's filming in Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish still not,
He can't drink coffee because you were just trying to get coffee and you said that was.
I know.
Yeah, he can't drink coffee on the corner. There's no coffee to be had.
None of these logistics changed my dreams. I still wish he could be hanging out drinking coffee on the corner.
He'd have to bring his own coffee.
Yeah, at this point, yes.
Sitting there with a thermos.
I don't know. Honestly, I really can't imagine how things would be if it went through.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I feel like it was a weird... from the outside, from reading this, a pipe dream that somehow got a little bit of traction. It sounds like you said, it sounds like a movie, because it sounds like outwardly everyone was like, oh, this is going to happen, it's going to be huge, blah, blah, blah. And it was just a total shame. And again, to the people who worked there, like, they were fully invested and fully believed.
Yeah.
Like, no, the idea that the money was being so mishandled to the employees, I'm sure some people knew, but for the most part, like, no one was really...
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, no one was really, like, in on that.
As long as your check cashes, you assume everything is right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you'd have no way of knowing there was any issues going in, because you'd show up and the lights would be on and you'd get paid and all your friends would get paid and they'd spring for lunch,
also,
and you'd never really process that, oh, and they'd be handing out $3.5 million to random dudes off the street, apparently.
Florida, not to mention.
Oh, no.
That should have been the first time.
Yeah.
So
I see where they went horribly wrong.
yeah. Oh my gosh, what was I gonna say?
Do we know what happened to Kirkpatrick?
He he just kind of like went off the map. But like
When we talked about this, I thought he was in jail.
no,
The
it
other
was
guy, the $3.5 million.
Has he gone through lawsuits? Yeah, but did he? It was all civil. It wasn't anything that federally he got in trouble for.
Wow,
It was the other guy that was in jail.
that's crazy to me.
Yeah, because he actually stole a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just the whole. You would think that at some point Kirkpatrick did enough.
No, I think he did enough of just missing, like, dotting T's, crossing I's on certain things.
So he wasn't.
He wasn't malicious. He was just kind of incompetent.
Yeah, he wasn't twirling his mustache. He
I
was
don't
just
think so.
more, slip on a banana peel.
Yeah, and there's something else I wanted to say about him. Oh, well, going into business with him,
Yeah.
you look at his track record and his, like, resume. I don't think there's any person that was going to be like, I don't know about this guy. Like, he'd literally been in the movie business for, like, production, management, everything.
On big films.
for,
Yeah,
like,
he
35
was.
years.
Yeah, he had name recognition if you were into that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then turns out apparently none of his jobs were ever accounting,
No.
or at least hiring incompetent accountants.
I don't know. Hopefully,
Like, it's a lot of money moving around. You figure somebody would go, hey, I don't entirely know what we're doing. Maybe we should find someone, find an
Yeah.
expert.
maybe you know what? I'd be damned if that conversation didn't happen, right?
Oh, I'm sure it did, but it
could
was...
have that could have prefaced the
break.
the break.
Yeah.
You hire a new accountant, and the new accountant's like, "Hey, man, so I'm doing the numbers here, and it seems like we paid $3.5 million to some guy for no reason."
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of we need an expert. And it's like, no, it's fine. We're totally fine. I got this. I know what I'm doing. I work for Paramount.
True. Yeah, and
Pretty crazy story.
I know. I didn't think there was as much mishandling in it
Yeah.
as there was, but there
I
actually.
strangely feel better that it was mishandled and not.
Yeah. I'm glad it was just. I'm happy that it was dumb and not corrupt.
I mean, someone did say he was only in it for the money.
Well, yeah,
Don't we all go to work for money?
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
I mean,
That's- aren't we all just opening $500 million movie studios for the money?
Yeah. But going back to that, spirit anime, what was it? Spirit-tainment. So he insisted that still when he was opening Plymouth Rock Studios that it would remain like a Judeo-Christian
really?
faith,
That I never heard of.
faith-based
Faith-based.
and teaching. Like that was teaching. He on the things about what the goal was for
Yeah.
it. Teaching was always at the end. I'd be like, what do they mean by teaching? And then once I found out
Indoctrination.
it was a faith-based thing, I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay, gotcha.
that's kind of iffy.
It was not about. It certainly wasn't teaching math or accounting.
No.
So it would have been not Leonardo DiCaprio would be like, I just saw Kirk Cameron drinking coffee on the corner. Do you know Kirk Cameron?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Candace Cameron's older brother.
All right, I don't know.
What was the show he was in? That Leonardo DiCaprio was in.
Yeah, that's right. So we tied it back together.
Yes.
Well, I think this is the part where we stop talking.
I would think so.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.